I will let you completely bypass a dialogue skill.
Let's come up with 3 really quick examples that a dungeon master can use in a situation where a player role plays an excellent speech before making a persuasion check in your D&D or other TTRPG games. And to give you a little more context, the video I'm stitching has the creator saying that they would automatically let a player pass a dialogue skill check if they role played the speech, the persuasion, well enough. And I don't necessarily hate this. I've seen it done at the table. I think it's great to reward role playing, whether you're letting them pass or giving them inspiration or giving them advantage on the roll. But I also really appreciate what Geeks Gambit had to say on the matter, and I would have stitched his video, but you can't stitch a stitch, so here we are. But the point he was trying to make is that certain players don't roleplay all that well, and that's okay. They don't have to. They're not all Brendan Lee Mulligans. And ultimately, you might be creating a table that is less fun for certain players if they don't have the acting chops to perform their way out of the mechanics of the game. And he talks about how interesting it is for a player to make that in real life, well role-played speech and then still fail the check, and working to figure out why that is still a failure after such a good speech. And I think that's where true great gameplay comes from, because it's going to be much more interesting. So let's talk about, again, 3 ways you can fail forward after failing a skill check after that great role playing. And for the purpose of this example, we're going to go with just a very classic scenario. Your party is in front of a king in his court. The bard has chosen to speak to them. We're trying to persuade the king for aid. The bard steps forward. The player makes a fantastic, compelling speech in real life, but then rolls a 1. What do we do? The first thing that immediately comes to my mind is jealousy. The players do convince the king, but they have drawn the attention of maybe a very Jafar-like court vizier who is now eyeing the party as a target, and they are jealous of the attention they're getting from the king. And now the players have a new nemesis that is constantly going to show up and thwart them through the rest of the session or the campaign even. Number 2, their burden grows. Not only is the king convinced, but other members of the court. And now they're being asked to go out and do other tasks. And the king agrees and says, if I'm going to help you, you're going to help them do their thing too. Number 3, there's strings attached. You've convinced the king. The king is going to give you exactly what you're after. But now, like receiving a government grant, you now work for the king. And there are all sorts of strings attached with what's going to come with this aid. But what about you? Would you use any of these, or just let your players pass with good role play?